All right. What is going on, folks? Fuck a title show. We're back in business. Can you believe it? So exciting. So exciting. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but I can totally hear my clock going in the background because I actually can hear myself now. It's super weird. You know what? Let's actually looking at my show notes for a second here. Hold on. All right, then we're back. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna go backwards. Weekly shoutouts. It's a new thing I want to do on the podcast. So the first one goes to Andrew Bauer at Bauer Digital. Just this microphone. It's gonna make the world. It's gonna make a world of difference. And yeah, I just can't thank him enough for that. Um, Shout out to you. Honestly, I just yeah, from the podcast to the voiceover stuff that I'm going to be doing, things for the short films. This microphone is going to come in handy for so many different things. And also to Jenny at Little Jenny Wren. Thank you so much for her letting me borrow the camera and some of the shots that I've gotten. I was reviewing some of the footage that I've shot for the next short film, and I don't know, just it's it's the type of shots that I definitely wouldn't be able to get on my phone camera, and the fact that she's letting me borrow it and everything is just absolutely beautiful. So thank you, Jenny. And okay, you got those out of the way. I'm sorry if there is a bit of an echo. I'm gonna get a what it's called pop filter because then I can actually face the microphone a little bit more. But also, I meant to hang up like a blanket or just certain things to help like keep the sound in one area of the room. So I'm gonna do a couple of different setups, test them this week, and yeah, we'll get the fucking show going, folks. Oh, the Game of Theories Day. I've been mentioning it on the channel. I've been posting about it. Super excited for this one, folks. Look at that. I could speak to you in soft tones and you could still hear me. Isn't that just isn't that beautiful? I know I sounded like Big Daddy Sass there, but I assure you it wasn't me. Either way, fuck. I'm so jumbled right now. I'm just excited to be doing the podcast again. Um, I don't want to dive right into the theories because I do have a lot of them, and I don't know. That's probably going to take up a lot of the show, so I think that's how we'll end the show with the game of theories. Sound good, folks? Um, so I mentioned it the other day in the vlogs. Iron Fist finally dropped on Netflix, and I think I'm on episode 6 right now. Episode 6 or 7, I can't remember. I love it. It's such a good show. Um, there's so many just different. Uh, I don't know. I don't, Character dynamics, I guess you could say, just like or character storylines. They have my attention. Um, I don't know. It's just the way it's done. There's a lot of things that you could relate to. Like there's certain characters like Ward. We all know somebody like him in our life, or we've all like encountered somebody like that in our life. You know what I mean? Um, Danny, kind of like this outsider that feels that he belongs, but really like the way he of life that he knows, like it's kind of a conflict because he feels like he belongs, but at the same time he feels like he is like this huge outcast from everybody, especially when so many people in that world and everything are they speak the language of money. It's all about how much money is this going to bring, how much money can I make, like how much money do you want for this to go away, whatever. And he's not like that. Money has no value to him, really. I don't know. I love it. Damn. I don't want to. I don't know if I want to go on out on a limb and be like it's better than than Daredevil, because, but at the same time, Daredevil had 2 seasons for us to kind of enjoy, so it's a little different. Um, I think Iron Fist for me is definitely up there with out of the Netflix Marvel shows so far. Excuse me. I think Iron Fist and Daredevil, they're like tied for me. Oh, you know when you're talking and you can like feel like a burp or something like just trapped in between your chest and stomach? That's how I feel right now. Anyway, yeah, anyway, I love how it's like it's really tying in. Like there's one character specifically that kind of like ties in all of them. And this one, I swear, like that Danny and Claire, the nurse, are having a conversation, and there's so many times where I feel like, oh shit, she's gonna mention Daredevil. She's gonna mention Daredevil now, or she's gonna bring up Luke Cage or somebody, and she doesn't. Like I don't know if it comes into play later in the season, but it's like I feel like the like producers or directors are just dangling the other members of the Defenders like right in front of us. They're always giving these little openings with the conversations that like could definitely be, oh hey, I know somebody that's like just like you that has like weird powers or whatever, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's just so mean. But yeah, for sure, if you guys and girls out there are into like it's different because like Daredevil and Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, they all had this like there at some point or another there was like a intimate aspect to it, a sexual one, sexual healing. But with Iron Fist, that's like there's, as far as I know so far, there's no like sexual thing involved. You know what I mean? It's just really compelling, kind of like philosophies, storylines with the characters, and awesome action. The fight scene with the guys with the axes and Danny, super dope. Anyone who's been watching the show will know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I definitely recommend it. So yeah, we're gonna leave it on that, I guess. Saturday Shorts theme. Okay, so I got a comment on the last Saturday Shorts, or I guess yesterday's, the Logan review, which, by the way, if you haven't seen it, go check that out. Logan and the review. Fucking 10 out of 10 for me. I cried like a damn baby. Okay, yeah. So I wanted to find the comment so I could at least pay the credit here. So the Saturday Shorts theme, when I first started doing them, I was just looking for songs that I could at least use or whatever, and that one came up. As far as I remember, it was published like a couple years ago or whatever, but there was no credit to it. Like there was no mention of an artist, so I wasn't really like sure where it kind of came from, and I guess it just kind of like it stuck to the Saturday Shorts for obvious reasons. But somebody actually let me know where that song is from, which will then lead me to a question. For Technomania, that intro song is from a Bollywood movie in which the actor's name is Varun Dhawan and song name is Saturday, sung by singer and rapper name Badshah. I probably messed that up, and I 100% apologize for that. But if the song is an official song from it, like it has an artist, it was from a movie and everything, then in like, I don't know, in good conscience, even though I just like said where it's from and everything like that, Um, I think it's time for a new one. I think it's I don't know. I want to like everything on the channel, like different like intro songs or whatever it is, like how El Che gave me the vlog beat. You know what I mean? Like for Saturday short shorts, I kind of want to do the same thing. Like for every certain thing, like I want to have like an originally created, except for the ones that I either use from Filmora or the YouTube like audio library. That's different. Um, but for like theme songs, obviously, yeah, I think that's what I want to aim to do. So the Saturday short shorts, it's time for a new theme, I believe. I gotta move this cord. Yeah. I don't know. I just think it would be better if like at the end of the day it's kind of it'd be cool if like anybody else out there, like if you want to submit a theme song for the Saturday short shorts or whatever, by all means. But it's I want it to be one of those things where like everything else on the channel, really, like we've all built it up together. You know what I mean? Like somebody out there either like contributed the song or I figure it out and I do the song. I don't know. I think that's the direction I want to go now. Obviously the for Filmora and the YouTube audio library, they have certain songs that kind of I don't know, they have just a wide variety of songs, so it's very easy to find certain ones that match like the mood that I want to set or whatever it is. Especially because the audio library also has like sound effects and like different genres like the cinematic and like dramatic, happy, whatever it is, you know what I mean? And they have like all music genres as well. So yeah, that's a little different because it's definitely easier, one, and two, there's certain ones that you like all you have to do is you just put a little blurb like I've done before in certain ones in the description. You pay the credit to that artist and bippity boppity boo, you're good to go. But with this one, if it's by like an official artist and it's been in a movie and everything like that, then I don't want to risk at some point coming across like a copyright issue. So the Saturday short shorts, we got to come up with a theme song for it, folks. We'll figure it out. Oh, also, kind of a little segue anyway, because of from what I'm talking about. I want to do a channel jingle. I just, I don't know. I think that would be awesome. I've been thinking about one. It's catchy. It's simple. And yeah, I think I want to figure out and actually do it because the channel jingle, it'd be like something I can put at the end of the videos or whatever, you know what I mean? Just kind of like the old like cartoons in the 90s. They always had that one advertiser that had like the cool little video graphic and it had like a cool jingle to go, or at least a catchy jingle to go with it. That's what I want to do for the channel. That'd be super dope. I'm thinking something like a just simple piano to like match the rhythm of the words. Just maybe like some single note hits or something like that. And then just be like, Church of Juvie, subscribe and turn on notifications. Something like that, you know what I mean? Just simple. Says like what this is, throws out what you like what you should do. Church of Juvie, subscribe and turn on notifications. Bam. I think it'd be awesome. Maybe I'm getting like wrapped up in silly ideas though. Who knows? Who knows? I think at one point or another, everyone thought an idea was silly that somebody had though. Right? Right. Oh, almost dropped my phone. I'm going to grab a quick sip of my water. My Glacier vitamin water. No. I get it. Never mind. Maybe not. Is Glacier... What? Fuck it. I'm not even going to try and solve this mystery right now. My bad, folks. Okay. The shitty thing about like having a microphone like this now, I can hear myself like I can hear in my headphones like me rustling with like the bottle and everything. So I'm sure all of you are gonna hear that. So I apologize. Okay, we've talked about Iron Fist. We've done our shoutouts. We've talked about the shorts theme, the Jingle. It's on to the game of theories, folks. Oh, super exciting. Let me get the Instagram pulled up. Oh, I got my phone right here. What am I talking about? What am I talking about? You know what I mean? Church of Juvie, subscribe and turn on notifications. Okay, dead air. Everybody loves dead air while I'm pulling up Instagram posts. Alright, so the game of theories. I asked everybody to, if you've watched the show or whatever, if you're a fan of the show, contribute what you think is going to happen in like season 7 and 8. Who's going to play a key role in anything? Just all in general, character, story wise, whatever. So I'm going to read Little Jenny Wren's and Lancelot _ Perry's first, and then I'll get into mine. And yeah, I don't know. I'm super excited. I'm going to do this for The Walking Dead as well, because we got a couple episodes left to season 7. So I'll definitely make sure to do that. Alright. Little Jenny Wren. I think the Starks will lead a battle against the White Walkers. Whether the Frost Dragon pans out, or Frost Dragon theory pans out, I don't know. I don't know how you beat the undead and an undead dragon, lol. I think it will end up with the Starks ruling the north and the Targaryens to the south, defeating King's Landing, killing Cersei and Jaime. I think the Great War is won between the White Walkers and everyone south of the Wall. The blue eye in the trailer looks like that of the Night King, so I'm assuming it's referring to that. Will be interesting to see where it goes and who dies. Dun dun dun. Okay, that I definitely think the Starks will lead the battle. Well, at least a Stark. I think Jon Snow will be a part of that battle, like leading it. I don't think a lot of other Starks will at this point. Maybe Bran. He might have a part in it somehow. I don't see how Arya can be tied into it though. Although we never know. I'm just putting my thoughts out there about like your theories as well. I'm not sure how we could tie Arya into it. Although she's crafty. She's got crazy training and everything now. She could like fucking use the face of somebody to get across in like 2 days. Who knows? The Frost Dragon theory. I was reading about this just so I at least knew what I was talking about. And basically what happens is Dany, like Daenerys Targaryen, one of her dragons ends up being like taken over by the White Walkers. I can't remember if they kill it and revive it or they're able to touch it and like turn it. Either way, somehow they get their hands on one of her dragons and turn it into like basically a frost dragon, an ice dragon, if you will. That's interesting because I have a theory about the dragon's involvement with the White Walker War as well. I'll wait till we get to that though. That'd be really interesting to see the Frost Dragon. I think I know how they would beat the undead and undead dragon because we've seen what they do with the dead and how to beat the undead earlier in the show. Remember when Lord Commander Mormon was attacked by one of the undead and Jon beat it with the fire, and then ever since then everyone's been making sure to burn the dead, which again will lead me to a very interesting thing that I think is going to take place. It might be a reach, but I think it'd be really interesting if they do it. Starks ruling the north and Targaryens to the south. I think, yeah, that makes sense for sure. It's just what they're going to rule. I don't know. Defeating King's Landing, killing Cersei and Jaime. That might be the missing piece to my theory for Jaime and Cersei, actually. Because I broke it all down into like character wise for me. It was just easier like that because that's kind of how the show goes. Everyone has like their own separate like storyline somehow. But this might be the missing piece to my theory for Jaime and Cersei Lannister. If Dany, and maybe even if Jon's involved, I don't know, or maybe Dany encounters this on her way north. I don't know. I don't know how that plays out. But somehow, if Dany goes to King's Landing to get the Iron Throne like she's been wanting, that might be, yeah, that could be the end. That would definitely be the end of Cersei and Jaime. It's just how they would meet their end. I think in this, for Jenny's theory, I think Cersei would die trying to like keep her throne and argue her power. And I think Jaime would, I don't know, I feel like Jaime would kind of just understand that like they're not going to win this. And I think just a lot of things that would play out in the season with Cersei being in power and Jaime not, I think Jaime would almost want to give up. I don't know. Great War is the one between White Walkers and everyone south of the Wall. Yeah, definitely. The blue line in the trailer looks like the Night King. See, I was fucking this up for the longest time. I thought it was called the White King because he's the king of the White Walkers, but nope, he's the Night King. So I'm assuming it's referring to that. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think the Great War refers to like the war of literally the living and the dead. Basically, like, I don't know. Again, I'll get into that in my theories, but I think I think the Game of Thrones will be really kind of turned on its head, so to speak. Will be interesting to see where it goes and who dies. Oh, for sure. That's an awesome theory, though, Jenny. I just want to make sure I didn't miss any part of it. Yeah, there's definitely some common ground I see with ours for sure, and that's an awesome theory. Anyway, I want to see Dany storm King's Landing now. God, can't wait. Lancelot _ Perry. I do not think Jon Snow will find his true family origins, which might be a blessing for him. Ooh, interesting. It's interesting. I've seen everybody arguing kind of the opposite, like wanting Jon Snow to find his family origins. But you're right, because if really he doesn't find out about his origins, I don't know. It could play into other things for him, like mentality wise and like pressure on him. If Khaleesi, for those that don't watch the show, Khaleesi is Daenerys. The Khaleesi term is from when she was with a tribe called the Dothraki. If Khaleesi and Jon do end up crossing paths, which we all hope for sure, they will make an unstoppable force. Oh, man. The King of the North that has come back from death and the Mother of Dragons. Can you fucking imagine? As for the Red Queen, we haven't seen the last of her cult, or whatever you may call it. This, my friend, plays into my theory again. I foresee Cersei doing even more damage to her family name, and she will feel the wrath of all of King's Landing, and or Arya will finally get her revenge. That's a good one. Yeah. Okay. Alright. Touched on the Jon Snow, which definitely, it might be a blessing for him. I'm not sure if I don't know. Because I don't know. I think he will find out. It's just how he finds out. Who knows? But you do have a very good point. It might be a blessing for him not to know. Khaleesi, if Daenerys and Jon cross paths, I think it's almost inevitable that they do. They have too many like common uh associates, you could say, or mutual associates. I think it's almost inevitable that they either she somehow hears about him, or he hears about her, and they make almost like a mutual effort that they need to get together for some sort of effort. John might feel it's for the White Walker War, and Danny might feel it's for to take over King's Landing. Who knows? I foresee Cersei doing even more damage to her family name. She will feel the wrath of all of King's Landing, and or Arya will finally get her revenge. Yeah, 100%. See, I definitely, these last 2 points about the Red Queen and her cult, like the Lord of the Light following. See, these go right into one of my, or some of my theories. So we're gonna get right into that, man. Thank you for the awesome segue, Lancelot Perry, Lancer Perry, as it were. Okay, put my phone down there. All right, so let's start. I'm gonna start with Tyrion, just because that's like the. This wasn't on purpose, but he had the shortest theory, so we're gonna start with Tyrion. I think, and I know this has kind of been a bit of a popular one going around. I heard it, and it kind of makes sense based on some of the evidence. Tyrion being a Targaryen. Now, I know some people are like, no, that doesn't make sense. But one thing that was brought up, I believe it was in a video by a group called New Rockstars that did a really awesome, they do really awesome breakdowns of a lot of different things, but they did an amazing breakdown of the season 6 finale, and they go into the Targaryen histories and everything. Yeah, they go really in depth. It was really, really fucking interesting. But yeah, Tyrion, he might be a Targaryen. Everyone, or one of the theories is that Aerys, yeah, the Mad King Aerys, actually raped Tywin's wife, and he's the father of Tyrion. And the evidence we see of this is the dragon scene when he takes the collars off of them, and they're really, really calm with them. I don't know if really, like, for me, it's one of those things, like, that's one of the best evidences that we have that he may have Targaryen blood in him. They don't seem to be too kind to people that don't have Targaryen blood. So yeah, and the way they were just very calm with him, they didn't attack him. Like, it was just, I don't know. I think that one makes a lot of sense for me. So I think Tyrion will actually find out that he's a Targaryen somehow, and he'll be a part of this fight with the White Walkers that happens. Because, well, we're gonna backtrack a little bit in a second. Don't worry. But I think he's gonna be a part of this war with the White Walkers, and I actually think that Tyrion's gonna die at some point in either season 7 or season 8, whenever this big war happens. I think Tyrion will actually die there, or with something that now with Jenny Wren, that when she mentioned the King's Landing, for sure goes into one of the things about my theory. If Dany storms King's Landing, I think that's where Tyrion dies. If he doesn't die there, I think he'll die in the War of the White Walkers. But I believe he's going to die, not getting revenge on his family, but actually protecting Dany or Jon Snow. Because if you remember in season 1, they had that almost like common, they had that like discussion where it was like you could see almost like a common like ground between them. And I've been listening to the first book on like through audiobook, and I don't remember if this happened in the show, but there's a conversation that happens with them when they're like just taking Jon to the wall and everything. they rest for the night and they're having a fire. And Tyrion's talking about how when he was basically like what he said in the dragon scene, like when he was a child, he wanted a dragon for the longest time, and he used to love dragons, and he was told that the last dragon died like a long time ago, and he just doesn't think about dragons anymore. And when he's walking away to go to bed, at some point in the discussion he's also talking about like how he would stare into like flames and just like watch the fire and kind of like imagine and think about dragons and everything. And as he's walking away, Jon is staring into the flames, like right after talking about dragons. He's like, he notices he has that like far off look in his eye and everything, just like Tyrion used to. And the words are, he sadly smiles before turning to his tent. And I think there's like this mutual thing going on with Jon and Tyrion that we haven't really gotten to see a whole lot in the show, obviously for their own stories. But I think if they storm King's Landing, Tyrion dies there protecting Dany somehow. If he doesn't die there, when they cross paths with Jon, I think he dies during the White Walker War trying to protect Jon or Dany. I think they'll give him that hero / like knight ending. I don't know. Again, these are just theories, so we have no idea what's going to play out. Let's go to Jon and Daenerys. Right away, I think they're going to cross paths. A lot of these, like how these theories work is almost like Bran's vision. I haven't seen all the pieces. I've seen flashes of scenes. And I've kind of like wrote them down and everything and tried to expand on them as much as I can without seeming like too far of a stretch with any of it. So Jon and Daenerys. I think they're going to cross paths somehow. Not sure really how. I think it'll be after Jon finds out about his Targaryen lineage, his bloodline. I think he's either going to find that out because of something. Oh, I can't remember his name, but Aegon Targaryen, I think his name was the old guy that was at the wall that we found out was a Targaryen. I think they're gonna find something that he left behind, or something that'll give it away. Or Sam, like somehow, one way or another, Jon will figure out his Targaryen like bloodline, and I think like because of that, he's going to be more inclined to like help Daenerys and everything like that. And really, like after he tells her what's happening with the White Walkers, I think she's gonna realize that the Iron Throne isn't the end game. Like, because if the White Walkers and the living lose this war, there is no Iron Throne to sit on or kingdoms to rule over. So I think Dany and Jon will realize they're related and join forces somehow to battle against the White Walkers. Basically, like the end game isn't the Iron Throne; it's making it out of this war alive. An interesting scene. I don't know what's going to happen during the war, obviously, specifically, but I think we're going to see a very interesting scene. Now, this goes back to when Jenny said, like, how do you defeat the undead? And I mentioned how it was fire and everything like that. So with the dragons that Dany has, she has 3 in total for people that don't watch the show. I imagine most people, if they don't watch the show, they've tuned out by now. So anyway, so Dany has 3 dragons, and even if one of them falls, like the 2 can still breathe fire, and I think like they're gonna do a lot of fucking damage. But the interesting scene that I think we're gonna see is the dead army either running towards the wall from that forest that we saw before, or just like the whole army like watching, and just like each side is just staring at each other's army kind of thing. That moment before the calm before the storm. And I think John will remember how, like, one, what they do with the dead so they don't come back, and two, how he beat the undead before in season 1, I believe. No, season 2. Either way. And I think that's where we're going to see John, whether he finds out his Targaryen bloodline or not, we're going to see John quietly, like, still staring at the army, but we'll hear him quietly saying, burn them all. Burn them all. And then he'll look up at his men and he'll be walking down the wall yelling, burn them all, to the armies, to Dany, the dragon, to everybody who's there. He will be mirroring the Mad King yelling, burn them all, to win this war, or at least try to win this war. I think that would be super interesting. Jaime and Cersei. Actually, let's go to Bran, because they kind of play into each other almost. I think Bran does get to Castle Black, and he tells Jon and Daenerys. Daenerys somehow is probably there at this point, or she's on her way. Who knows? Either way, he gets to Castle Black, and he at least tells Jon about his vision. And that's where Jon that's where, from my theory about Jon, that's where Jon would figure out about his Targaryen bloodline, from Bran telling him about his vision. I think through that, by that time, Bran has also had more visions at this point. Basically, he understands more. Like, we're going to see how the Ravens have really affected this world. I think that the Ravens have almost... They can see the future and everything, and by either guiding somebody somewhere or playing a part in it somehow, the Ravens, or the Green Seers, that's what they're called, the Green Seers. I think the Ravens and the Green Seers, the ones who can see the future and really, like, change certain things, they have almost really had the biggest effect on this Game of Thrones world that we see. I think either we'll see in the next season, or at some point towards the end of the show. I think at some point either him or the other three-eyed raven that he basically replaced. I'm gonna go with the older three-eyed raven, just for kind of makes a little bit more sense. So the other three-eyed raven he went back, or maybe it was a future vision where he sees Aerys Targaryen before he's lost his mind. He's a regular king at this point. But through basically not knowing how to control certain things, he ends up showing Aerys Targaryen what is, like, waiting for them. Like the White Walker army, the dead rising again, like all this information and these events that are happening. And that's what caused Aerys to, like, snap. And that's why he was constantly yelling, burn them all. Because even if somebody was alive, if you burn them, they're not going to come back. So I think that's what triggered it, is the older three-eyed raven, or, like I said, it could be Bran somehow. I'm not really sure about how he would affect it. But I think through Bran's vision, we're going to, more visions, we're going to see something like that, or at least see how the Ravens have kind of affected the world a little bit more. For me, the reason that this kind of makes sense, of why, like, the Mad King would have lost his mind, like, through a three-eyed raven vision, or like Bran's vision kind of thing. We see it with the Tower of Joy. I believe that's what it was called. When he goes back and he sees a young Eddard Stark going to save his sister and all that. When he first is in the vision and he yells, "Father," young Eddard turns around. And the second time when we see him go into that vision, he doesn't say anything, but Eddard still turns around as if he heard something. Same with the Hodor thing. we're not really sure why Hodor keeps just only being able to say Hodor, and then we go into Bran's vision, and he has that, like, the visions and everything of what's going to happen, and he goes into his seizure, and he just starts yelling, hold the door, hold the door. It's so good. So there we see two examples of how the ravens have affected this world, or at least Bran has affected his world. So I think with Bran going to Castle Black through his visions, he's gonna know. Well, he does know certain things about Jon now, so he's gonna tell Jon about that. Through his visions, we're gonna see how the Mad King lost his mind, and we're gonna see how, like, the ravens and everything affect this world more than we see as it is now. So I think Bran is gonna play a really vital part to certain strategies in the show and in the War of the White Walkers. And I know I'm focusing on that. So let's get into why I think it's going to be more of like the White Walkers, basically. Jaime and Cersei Lannister. They're going to have a feud. And I think this feud is going to, like, be due to the fact of Jaime's jealousy that Cersei's on the Iron Throne and he's not. And Cersei is very power hungry. She finally has the throne, and she's not going to want to give that up. So there's going to be a collision between these two. But we have to remember that Jaime also has a very intense love for Cersei. Some might not say it's a healthy one, though. Understandable. But I think she's going to try and play off the explosion as an attack from the Lord of Light followers to try to, like, ignite, like, a holy war, basically. Between, like, her, like, what is it, like the old gods and the new, however you want to put it, I guess. I think it's during this time of her kind of like igniting that and it getting started or whatever. I think that is when King's Landing is going to be divided. It's going to be divided between religious beliefs, and this war is going to put more attention on the Jaime and Cersei feud. I'm not sure about like a lot of the minor I don't want to say minor, but like a lot of the fill-in details right yet. But I think at the end of it all, the city is going to be fighting with like the various factions, like Lord of Light versus whatever Cersei's people are going to be. I can't really think of what they would be. Either way, I think there's going to be some sort of holy war like going on, and gotta find my place again. At this time, the city's gonna be fighting like the various factions and everything. Jaime's gonna confront Cersei at some point, and I think that's where he either kills her following a plan to like destroy everything that she's built. Like he's kind of played like Cersei almost behind the scenes and set up certain things to bring her down. And who knows? Could it be another wildfire explosion? Or is this holy war not even gonna happen? Like she's gonna try and get it to happen, but then Dany shows up with her dragons and basically fucking torches everything. Who knows? I don't know. Either way, but I think he's gonna confront her with either a plan to destroy everything that she's like built up and everything, or they both die together in King's Landing. But I think when they both die in King's Landing, it'll be in a setting of which either he set up the wildfire explosion, or Dany and the dragons have just kind of torched everything in this war, and the Iron Throne is basically like after one event or another. I can't really like choose. There's a couple different ones bouncing around. I think the Iron Throne is really going to be nullified, and it's going to be almost like a dawning of a new world, so to speak. But with the Iron Throne like out of the picture, maybe like this is, I don't know, maybe this is after Daenerys learns about the White Walker War or something else. But like I just think something's going to happen, that King's Landing will fall, and the Iron Throne will actually end up not being a factor in the show really at all. I think it's called the Game of Thrones. I understand that, but I think it's going to end up being like the living versus the dead, and then how do we cope with like each other after that? There's no kingdom separating us. We're all just people of certain spots. It's almost like it will almost be like the dying of the old world, from when we had kings and emperors and rulers of these little spots everywhere, to how it is now. We don't really have like kings and that sort of like system anymore. You like, we do, but I'm sure everyone knows what I'm saying. So yeah, I think something's gonna happen in King's Landing, that everything will end up falling, and the throne will pretty much be nullified. It won't even be a factor. But during this, that's when we're gonna basically see like Jaime and Cersei either. I think either way they die together. I think that's the only way they can like end those two stories. Oh, need another sip of water. I don't know if I'm sure everyone else heard those mouth noises. I don't know. Oh, it's the one bad thing about having a microphone. Fucking hear everything, I guess. Okay, Sansa and Littlefinger, the last ones for my theories. Okay. So I think Sansa is jealous as fuck of Jon for being the king of the North. The king of the North. And I think that that thirst for power and everything is really going to drive her too far. She'll end up focusing more on trying to be a ruler somehow, or trying to be in a position of power. And she's not really going to be thinking about how to protect or fight in the White Walker War. Oh, well, I guess I got Arya left too. My bad, got sidetracked. I think with Sansa, I'm not sure. I think that's gonna be her conflict. She's gonna be focusing on the wrong thing at the wrong time, basically. And I'm not sure how things are gonna end up for her. For Littlefinger, I think he's gonna try his tricks on either Tormund or one of the other wildling groups, or like one of the, just a different sort of group that's involved with Jon Snow at least. And I think that it's going to be the wrong group or person. I don't see Littlefinger making it to the end. I think he dies somehow, and I think it's by trying to manipulate within like Castle Black's groups and everything. For Arya, this little badass, literally like the first thing I wrote for her was, I have no idea. I thought I had her story figured out, and it just keeps fucking taking left turns. So this is my theory. I think she ends up in King's Landing somehow. She, through her training, is able to basically orchestrate one of the final blows to the Lannisters. Like, I don't think she's gonna be there when it all like falls and everything, but I think somehow she's gonna have a very like a vital part in delivering that, like one of the final blows to King's Landing and everything. Or she just basically through her travels keeps encountering people that are on her list until she gets to King's Landing. And oh, I just thought of this. She's encountering people on her list, leading her to King's Landing, but somehow through those travels, or either when she gets to King's Landing, she learns of Jon and what's going on, like with him and everything, like with the war or something going on at that time. And then this is where she actually has to decide what path is she going to go down. Is she going to go strike those final names off of that list that keeps her awake, or is she going to go and fight with Jon and everything and be united with her family? Ah, super, super, super interesting, folks. I don't know. I think a lot of people are going to die, though. I'll tell you that much. Thank you to Little Jenny Wren and Lancelot Perry for your guys' theories. If anyone out there, you have any thoughts about like the theories that I shared, or anything I said in the show, comment below, folks. Always want to get everyone involved as much as... Wow, that was loud. I always want to get everybody involved as much as I can. I am so sorry about that. Anyway, let's try that again. I want to always get everybody involved as much as I can. Um, and yeah. So yeah, comment below anything you want on the show. Theories, thoughts on the theories, Iron Fist thoughts, whatever. I've been your host, Juvie the Kid, and this has been Fuck a Title Show.